Hey, welcome everyone to Yankee Stacking. I am so excited to have on with me one of my friends and an inspiration to me, the overtaxed taxpayer, or another overtaxed taxpayer, I should call him. So, welcome.
We're all overtaxed taxpayers.
That is so true. Yeah, and I'm really excited about this. We talked about this for weeks, months about doing a collaboration together.
Quite some time.
Yeah, and I'm pretty jacked. I was telling the family, Mrs. Yankee, guess who I'm going live, or recording with tonight. And she's like, who? Another overtaxed taxpayer. And she's like, wait a minute, weren't you watching him like years ago or something? Like, yeah. Oh man, it's so funny. So thank you so much. I appreciate it. We're just gonna, chill and talk about some cool stuff like stacking and prep.
Two buddies just shooting the breeze. And if you don't mind, every now and then I'll pick up the camera and tilt it to my stack. Your stack looks bigger.
I'm showing some
bling. It almost
bling.
looks like scratch and smell. It looks like I can grab right through the screen and grab all that gold. Wouldn't that be so cool if I just reached
Go ahead. Here comes his hand.
Gold.
This is your hand. Reach out.
And then there's a mouse trap that snaps.
Oh man, that is awesome. Hey man, we're gonna have fun today. We're gonna talk about, like I said, stacking and prepping, and why we do what we do, and maybe even talk a little Bitcoin, and we can get in a little fight or whatever, and we'll have some fun. I was just, before we recorded, I was just admiring that blue hue colored 12 gauge behind you, man.
Yeah, so that's nice. My ambient lighting. I'm trying to go professional here with the. So it's a light that I bought at Home Depot.
Nice.
And it's an LED light, but the good thing about it is you download an app and you can change it to whatever color you want.
Oh yeah, that's
so
fun.
It's really cool.
My son's got that upstairs with his gaming table and all that. So. Oh yeah, he loves it.
It's so funny. So when I talk about something dire like the world's coming to an end, I got the devil red behind me.
Oh, you match the color with what topic you're talking about.
The mood.
When you're showing the money, it's green, right?
Yeah.
Oh yeah, that's cool. So all right. So yeah, let's dive in on this. Let's start out with just a little bit of background around stacking and prepping. Your journey, my journey, how we got started with this whole thing. I actually can't remember. I mean, I was watching your videos a long time ago, like some of your earliest ones, and I don't remember how you got started.
So it was around 2008. I had the evening shift at work. And at the time, I was putting in something like 12-hour shifts. We had 12-hour shifts, and then we had 4-day weekends. It was crazy.
Mm-hmm.
I had a lot of free time on my hands. And I began to listen to conservative talk radio because I got tired of the freaking repetition of just music. So I started listening to conservative talk radio, which educated me. Unbeknownst to me, I was I'm neither Republican nor Democrat, but I always leaned towards the conservative side. And I just felt such a drawing to some of those radio stations. It sent me on a journey. I started learning a little bit about politics then, and opened up my eyes. And then I started browsing subject matters on YouTube, which it's kind of like going down the rabbit hole. You find one, you find another, and then you slowly, like a cigar, when you first start smoking cigars, you're trying them all, and every now and then you grab one. I like this one, and I like that one. Pretty soon you have about 4 or 5 favorites.
Yep.
So I found a few favorite YouTube channels, and they were prepper. At the time, prepping was big. There was so many prepping channels, and they're really far between now. I mean, a few of them, few still exist, like Southern Prepper and all those preppers.
Right.
And the mix of the conservative talk radio, the fear mongering, I got to admit that fear mongering some of these prepper channels put out, started me prepping. I didn't know anything about silver at the time, and silver didn't come till a few years later, until I started delving into some of the newer prepping channels that were coming out, some of the ones that advocated for not only preparing with guns, ammo, food, and whatnot, but financial.
Mm-hmm.
So that brought me into silver. And I don't think I bought my first ounce of silver until like 2008. What about you? What about you?
Well, yeah. Well, you and I are actually, I think you're roughly the same age as me. I mean, we both have a lot of years under our belts,
yeah,
right?
no, I agree. I'm about ready. I agree with you. I'm about ready to turn 17. And
you look it, man. You don't look a day over 20. Jeez.
yeah, I think we're about 17, right?
Yeah. Oh, yeah. At least in the inside. But yeah, I mean, I had a background that was actually probably familiar with a lot of stackers out there, and that is coin collecting. When I was a kid, my grandfather was just a really great coin collector, and he used to, what kid when they're 9 wants to hang around in grandparents' house and just sit there and talk? But he would look at me and say, hey, come here, Yankee. He'd bring me into his office, and there was like all these coins, and he got a book out for me and started me down the penny collection and all that, and I just thought it was so cool. And it was really neat to have a grandfather that started me out like that. But my dad actually got me into silver, or stacking, if you want to call it. They didn't call it stacking back in the 80s, but I was a teenager, and he brought me to the mall, and he was like telling me, Yankee guys, this is real money. He'd be like, this is real money, and so I was like, okay, Dad, and I'd buy a whole tube of Mercury dimes, because that's what he liked. He liked the dimes, right? So we get at the mall, we'd buy them, and I still have the receipts to this day of my original purchases with my dad. So that was really cool.
That actually reminded me of my childhood. So my dad, he used to, not by hobby, he would just throw all his quarters and dimes in a jar, keep them in his dresser drawer or wherever. And like I said, it wasn't for the purpose of, I don't think he knew what silver was, but he was just one of those people that kept quarters and dimes.
Right.
I was a bad kid. I used to go and steal those quarters and dimes.
Okay. Oh, confession time, man. Here we go.
And try to kind of move the pile around so he couldn't tell.
Right? Because
And I would go and blow it on stupid things as a kid, like yo-yos and candy, and but that dime that you just held up.
Yeah.
How many quarters and dimes I stole from him? That were probably 90% silver, and didn't have a clue, and threw it all away on candy. Poor guy.
Yeah, and I have to. My dad got me into that to some degree. I mean, my grandfather gave me this. I don't know if you've ever seen one of these freaking things. It's like you put the quarters and dimes in there, and you plug it in, and it's like Scale-O-Matic. You just whip through a whole tube or a whole roll, and my grandfather's like, you could go through a whole roll on this. Just bring a $10 bill, son, down to the bank. So as a kid, I was a coin roll hunter on my bike. I'd go down to the bank, I'd get a hold of, and it was a lot easier back then, by the way, to find some silver than it is now. But that was just, it was just fun to do that as a kid.
Back then there was so much of it, I guess is what I was trying to say, that didn't even know what it was back then. No, when I was a kid.
I was learning it just a little bit. I knew, 1964 earlier, so I had some education. I give that to my grandfather and father, so I owe it to them.
That's awesome.
But when you turn into an adult and you get married and have kids and all that stuff, I got enamored with the markets and really poured into that, maxed my 401k out. I was all about, this is back before ETFs, actually. I was about mutual funds and stocks and bonds, and that was the way it was at. And, after it took all the way to 2008, very similar to you, global financial crisis, right?
Mm-hmm.
And 2009, I had a long, conversation with my wife. I said, this is going to go bad. I want to take a chunk of my money and I want to buy gold. Well, she's like, wait, what? I said, I want to buy gold. And
So
I was like, yeah. You can imagine. She's like, what are you talking? I said, trust me on this one. She, I married up. She's a phenomenal wife. And
That's awesome.
Mrs. Yankee's like, you think that's best to do? I support you in it. So I actually bought this. It was a tube of 1 ounce American Gold Eagles, 20 of them. And it was I call it the Yankee cannon because it's just, for fun. But that was a big deal to me. That was my first real getting serious about the stacking piece. But I started with that, really, 2009. That's what the date is, 2009.
That's freaking awesome.
That was hard, man. Do you realize that was really hard? Gold was like $1,000 an ounce back then, but that was hard. a lot of saving to try to do that, but and I remember how freaking scared I was coming out of the coin shop.
So now each one of those coins in that tube are approximately $700 more than what you purchased them for.
True, but I did ride it up to almost $2,000 an ounce that first wave, right? And then I rode it all the way down. We're going to talk about that because I buy silver and gold, and I never sell it.
I've never sold an ounce either.
Good for you, man. Now I got to be careful here. I do tiny bits of selling just to flip, just a little bit, but no, that is to keep for other reasons. So
right.
Yep.
Absolutely.
We'll talk about that a little bit later, but that was really my first step into it, and then around that time, I also got into the whole prepping thing. Now, can I clarify this? I'm not a doomsday prepper.
All right.
Do you know what I'm saying? I don't have a bunker in the backyard. I don't feel things are gonna just. Yeah. Was that a radiation sign on the wall that you just? Yeah, there you go. Fallout shelter. There you go.
The real one.
That's a real one?
The real one that came out of a nuclear plant.
Sweet.
So here we have the Titan Missile Museum. So you can look it up.
That
it's
is
here in
so
Tucson,
cool.
Titan Missile Museum.
Oh, I want to go.
That came out of another. Nuclear facility, and they were selling them. So yes, that's metal. It's actually if you shine a light on it, it has that
reflectiveness.
Yes.
Yeah, that's cool.
So I was just, I don't,
Sweet.
I love collecting little things like that. So I just brought out a few things.
But
here.
Dude, here we go, bling time. We're gonna have fun. I want to show some stuff, and I want you to too. But I mean, you're not a. When I say a doomsday prepper, I think of it more as like I'm a practical prepper.
Right. So
you know what I'm saying?
Yeah, I want to build upon that.
Please.
There's a lot of people that, and I think the television series Doomsday Preppers gave preppers a bad name.
Mm-hmm.
I'm not a doomsday prepper. I don't believe that Planet New Brew, some crazy crap is going to happen tomorrow. I don't believe in many things that you'll hear a doomsday prepper talk about.
No zombie apocalypse?
No, I kind of wish it would. It'd be fun, actually, I think.
You grab that 12 gauge and have some fun, wouldn't you?
Do is outrun them, right?
Yeah, I know,
All you
right?
do is be able to outrun them. Unless you come across the zombies that can sprint.
I know, right? Oh, man, that's the whole different ball of wax right there. But I can totally see you with a melee weapon. I don't know why, man.
I don't believe in a lot of the apocalyptic stuff that preppers have been demonized with.
Right.
I do believe in a financial type of an emergency coming. And I think what throws
even a natural disaster could potentially happen, right? Pandemic or something like that?
Absolutely.
Yep.
Absolutely.
Hey, here's a question for you. Did you have any N95 masks before this whole thing went down?
So, yes, I did.
Me too.
I had some, and then my wife got a hold of them and was using them for her arts and crafts.
That's awesome.
God bless her. It's okay.
Oh, you'd be like, wait.
Just in case.
But that's what I'm talking about. See, that's, to me, I had them years ago, right? And to me, it was just like, it's a practical thing to do. Your Berkey, your food preps, all those things, I mean, shoot, man, the federal government asks us to do that, right?
Right.
So that's the type of thing that, I don't know if it's just a misrepresentation or people not understanding it, but that's the type of prepper I am.
Yeah, I think everybody's a prepper.
Yeah,
you live in a cold environment.
Right.
You put on a jacket before you go out. You're preparing. You're prepping.
See,
so,
I love that.
and I think what happened in the stores in the beginning of this COVID-19.
Right.
I've been saying it for years. If something happened,
Right.
you'd have about 2 days, 3 days worth of food on the shelves.
Sure.
And when this COVID-19 came upon us, damn if it didn't happen. Excuse my language. About 3
How
4
about
days.
that, huh?
3 or 4 days, and those shelves are wiped out. I even took video and posted it.
I saw that. This is a wake up call, right?
I think it was to many of the naysayers. I didn't even need stuff, and I would go into the store just to get a barometer of what was going on in the community here. So, and I would walk up and down. If I saw a can of soup or something, I threw it in the cart or something.
Right.
But I think a lot of people woke up to prepping now. To what degree? I don't know.
I think it's happening, but I'm going to tell. Right now, this is when I'm going to make you embarrassed because you were instrumental in sensitizing me to this in many ways, both for prepping and stacking. You're one of the seminal channels that I watched. I was telling you before we started this, dude. I was outside. I'd be mowing in the middle of July or whatever, and back in 2018, and once it was done, I'd lay down on my hammock under the shade and pull out my phone and go to YouTube and pull up another overtaxed taxpayer. I'd be listening to it. You'd be like, do you see? This is an American silver eagle. Isn't it beautiful? This is 1 ounce of 999 fine. So, I mean, you were just, you still are. You're great. It just kind of like had this comfort level. You engage with people. I was mesmerized, glued to what you were saying, and I really enjoyed it.
Awesome.
And quite frankly, I also thought you were the man for showing your face on YouTube. Of course, you can see I'm not doing that.
I got a lot of beef for that. I got a lot of beef for showing silver like you do, gold like you do. Oh, you shouldn't show your stack. I get a comment like that once a week.
Well, yeah, but.
And I'm I don't know where you are any more than you know where I am. You know what I'm saying?
No, I know. And I've met up people at coin shops and so forth and face-to-face. So I get that. It's just, I made a promise to Mrs. Yankee when I did this channel, I'd keep it anonymous. So
yeah, and I had to make a promise or two to my wife, too, that I wouldn't, bring her in on it or speak about her. And I understand exactly where your wife is coming from. I wanted to make one more point about prepping.
Yeah, go ahead.
So I think also not only was preppers being demonized, but when you tell people something is going to happen, in their minds, they're expecting it to occur like a light switch. Switched on, boom. I just woke up. The world's in an economic collapse.
Right.
And when that doesn't occur to them, they lose faith in the precious metals. I'm pointing at the precious metals. They lose faith in prepping. I don't think they understand. It's like boiling a lobster. It happens very slow and incremental.
Almost imperceptibly. You don't even know you're cooking.
Yeah. So, and I want people who are listening to this and thinking about prepping, or even for that matter, thinking about quitting. It doesn't happen like it does in a movie. You don't go to sleep one day and the next morning you turn on your favorite news channel and there's calamity all around. It happens slowly and incrementally.
True, but sometimes it happens almost imperceptibly until it happens, and then when it does trigger, it's amazing. Like we saw, right? I mean, it doesn't take long. Not many meals. What's the famous quote? Is it 4 days? Until four missed meals until anarchy. It doesn't take long for things to spiral out of control. I know I'm misquoting that, but anyways, the point is, you take away food from people, water, basic necessities, it can get bad quick. But we don't notice it, and we get complacent, right? The whole normalcy bias. We have this bias that things are, they're going to stay the same. They've always been this way. Yeah, blah, blah, blah. And then boom.
I hear you.
Oh, man. So anyways, so that was my journey. I mean, basically you inspired me really to start stacking
Thank
too.
you.
And to start my YouTube channel, which I started almost just short of 2 years ago now. So really, I credit a lot of this to you. All right, so
taken off. Your channel has taken off. Tremendous.
Well, thank you. But I watch your style. You also have a great way of just telling a good story and being real. I think people can tell really quick if you're fake, right? And you are not fake. You are as real as they get.
And this leads. Remember, we were joking around about how I feel in front of the camera, and you're like, you seem so smooth over text.
Yeah, you're
and
relaxed.
I said, hold on, let's save this for the video. I might seem so smooth. So, for example, my rides to work, when I do morning ride to work.
Oh, I love those. Yeah.
So you know how many times I have to stop the camera, start all over? About 4 times.
Come on.
And and then the 5th time takes, but on the 4th time I'm cussing at myself. It's hilarious. I gotta hold those and just make a collage.
You should.
Of all my mistakes.
Oh yes, absolutely. That would be hilarious.
So a lot of people, they're very polished, and they take a lot of time scripting and everything. I just feel like talking about something and I say it.
You see, that's
it has
the point.
its downsides too. I misquote sometimes, or I mispronounce sometimes.
But wait a minute, that also shows how real you are. You just like, I don't know, I'm saying that wrong. Whatever. And it's not like you have to have it all edited perfectly. So that's awesome.
Right. I like to talk to people like they're just sitting across the table from me.
That's why I watched you. And the prepping piece, I looked at what you were doing, and just kind of, maybe I stole that. I don't know. I modeled a lot of what you were doing around my channel too. I created a playlist called what I call Prepping the Yankee Way, and I put in different episodes of prepping to help the newbies, and that was a big step for me too, to share the prepping aspect of it. Actually, you mentioned Hollywood and Doomsday Preppers. Did you know that a Hollywood studio actually watched my Prepping the Yankee Way playlist?
I did not know that. That should be an honor.
They actually reached out to me and asked me to do a reality show. You're laughing. I can see that smirk on your face. Like, wait a minute.
Well,
they did. I did.
Bucks off of it.
Well, but you see, I'd have to show my face most likely. Yeah, so I've had to wrestle with that. The whole family did. I did a couple. What do they call them? Casting call, I guess you can call it. I did a couple videos. I sat across the table from them virtually. The 2 producers, they went through it, and they said we're building this reality show and prepping, and they gave me the premise. I was like, holy crap. So yeah, we'll see. I don't know. The whole medical crisis thing kind of.
So was this recently, or
the end of last year?
Okay, so you're saying there's still a chance they could call you?
Yeah, they said they would. They've got the team together, blah blah blah, and they just had to put it on hold. Nothing's going on, I guess, for development.
I just thought of something funny.
What?
I need to send you an overtaxed taxpayer shirt to wear on your first episode.
Boom! There it is, man.
Throw me a bone.
You send it. I'll wear it. Oh, are you kidding me? Oh, definitely.
I'll tell you something. If I had to make a guess, I'm looking for somebody that's controversial. You're very normal. So
tell my wife that, or my kids. No, they actually like the financial aspect. So I was able to walk them through. I had like 3 different preps outside. I walked one. My son was like walking around with the phone live, and they're recording it. And I was like showing them the different preps for water and food and other types of stuff. And then I talked to them about the financial aspect, the dangers, and how we need to be prepped. And they were like, whoa. See, they were looking for like different strengths. I'm not, some survivalist or something. So they wanted a team to be able to go and test people's preps all around the world. So we'll see. I don't know. I'm perfectly fine. I'm perfectly fine never doing that. My life is still complete without it. So, but it was a hoot to do it.
That's awesome.
So anyway, but I credit a lot of that, the whole prepping thing, to some of the stuff that you did and watched on your channel. So I appreciate it. So we talked a little bit about our journeys, how we got going on this whole thing. How about your approach to the whole stacking? Let's take stacking, like gold and silver, and why do you stack? What's your strategy?
So for me, it's quite simple. When I have some extra money, one would think it's funny, but it's saving money is one of the hardest things a family can do. There's always bills that need to be paid. There's always more important things that need to be done with your fiat currency.
Right.
And by the time you retire, it's too late. Game over. You either got it by then or game over. So I come from the mythology. I come from the perspective that anytime I get anything, any kind of extra money, I put it away. And sometimes, yes, I feel that my savings is sometimes, I got to be very careful how I say that.
Yep.
Sometimes more important than some of the bills I have to pay. See, the bills I can get caught up with while I'm still young. But when I'm old, there's no catching up on savings. So I'm not like some of these big YouTube channels where I have a big budget and I can just easily purchase silver or gold, for that matter, anytime I can. I'm struggling to put savings away for my wife and I for when we're older.
Right.
I obviously I buy when it's low, and I haven't sold anything, very much like you. I have not ever sold one lousy ounce since my first.
You beat me on that.
What's that?
You've beaten me on that. I have flipped a few things,
but it sounds like you flipped them for a profit, which is not actually spending the money.
Yeah, okay, so I like to buy my silver and gold not as an investment, or at least not in a traditional sense. I don't look at this as an investment. I look at it as insurance. Inflation insurance or hyperinflation insurance. It is insurance for the wealth that I currently have and how to preserve it, right? I don't look at it as a great way to build my wealth. You know what I'm saying? I know some people do, and they do a much better job of it than I do. I mean, they buy up a whole bunch and flip it and they make a profit. I just don't see that as effective, that capital appreciation right now. And to me, that is not what it's about. It's not about investing, sort of, if you will. I mean, seriously, this stuff doesn't yield. It doesn't cash flow. It just sits there, right? But it preserves its buying power, its value. So that's how I approach it.
So, and I agree with you. I don't think I'll ever get rich off of my precious metals.
There you go.
However, it is something that sits there. It's actually, and I think I mentioned this before, I love going to Best Buy. I love buying. I'm a guy, I love the pretty blinking lights and so this stays in the safe. It's difficult to spend on like a debit card. It's
forced savings. It's forced savings, right?
It's a savings account that has a higher, in my personal belief, that has a higher interest rate than a standard savings account at the bank. It was sitting at right around $14 and change. What, 6-7 months ago? And now it's, what is it worth now, an ounce? So it has a higher interest rate, and I prefer this savings account versus their savings account.
Oh my word!
I think it'll make me rich,
yeah,
though.
I agree. I mean, we could go off on a tangent on banks. I tell people to take their savings out of the bank. I say, be the bank, be your own bank. Yeah, leave some in there for, like emergencies, or better yet, for convenience, like paying the bills and all that. But your savings, what is it buying you in there? Practically nothing. So my fiat, I try to get the savings piece out of there, but that's a whole risk reward type thing. If the reward was greater, putting it in the bank, sure. But shoot, man, if it's negative right now in real terms. Our interest rates is negative, and soon I think it's going to be in actual terms. It's going to go negative.
We're actually doing them a favor by us letting them hold our money.
Think of it.
We're making them rich.
It's crazy.
It's a very vampiristic system. This system of debt. You want something, and then you have to pay back much more than what you buy. It's a very vampiristic system.
Yeah,
the
banksters have us right where they want us.
If you really took a look at our homes, really material wise and labor wise, really, what is the house worth? Yet we're on these 30-year mortgages, compounded interest, or however they calculate the interest, and you done spend 3 times or 2 times the home's value, and if you're lucky.
Yep.
By the time you're finished with your mortgage. Very vampiristic system.
Yeah. The whole financial system, I think. Yeah, I want to talk about that. I want to talk about where you think we're going economically. But before I do, my strategy, just from a stacking standpoint, is I have to keep things simple. Because if I don't, I'm getting old, and I'll start drifting off and buying stuff that I probably shouldn't buy. But I called it stacking the Yankee way, and it's basically 3 things that I like to focus on, and I think I got it probably from you, right? Constitutional, right, or junk as people call it, government minted silver bullion like American Silver Eagles, like you kept talking about for such a long time, and then gold. Of course, I started with gold, but also the fractional stuff. So I've been focusing on Canadian maple leaf. So that's it. 3 things.
By the way, which size of those capsules?
These are 1/4 ounce. I don't go anything short of a 1/4 ounce. I take my time because you know what? Roughly one of these costs about this, right?
Well, which size is the capsules?
Oh, I don't. Oh, millimeter? You mean?
Yeah, I need to get some.
I'll send it to you. In fact, I think I might have a link in the description of my videos for these capsules. But
those are sweet. How you got the foam rubber around them.
Yeah, some people like that. Some people don't. Whatever. I started that way, so I decided to keep it that way. But
looks like candy.
Yeah, yeah. I'm stacking it, trying to get a maple musket, as I call it. 25, I think I'm gonna go for. But so, anyways, that's it, man. I keep it simple. I don't do bars a whole lot for a variety of reasons, mostly from it comes from my dad and the whole trust and of bars versus coinage, where we actually tend to trust round things more, and American Silver Eagles. That's my main focus. Those are my strategies, because I'm what I call a prepper stacker. There's 3 kinds of stackers, because again, I can't have like 15. I'll forget them. A prepper stacker, a collector stacker, and a flipper stacker. I'm the first one, right? The prepper stacker is about being prepared for, I don't know, whatever, financial crisis or your retirement. You're preparing for something, right?
Yes.
Collectors, they love the bling, dude. They get all this fancy stuff, which occasionally I'll get just because they're what I call silver ice cream cones. They're fun. That's my favorite ice cream, by the way. Yeah, black raspberry. But yeah, I don't buy a lot of this stuff. I can't. It's like, if I had a steady diet of that, it's just like if I had a steady diet of that, I'd be 320 pounds. If I had a steady diet of this stuff, I'd be wasting my money with the high premiums. I just think that I reward myself with occasionally, right? So I try not to do that. That's a collector stacker, though. They don't care. They don't care about premiums. They just want the beauty. They collect series, right? They get all the latest whatever and all that. I'm not that. Yeah, you love those. Yeah, the booty. You love calling that the booty, right? Yeah.
Pirate
Pirates.
booty.
Pirate
So
booty.
in the same way, I stack most of my stack. I would say 95% of my stack is Eagles.
Yep. Can I see?
I got about 4% in Maple Leaves.
Can you switch your camera while you're saying this?
Sure.
Yeah, I'd love to see it.
I only brought out a little bit.
Of course.
Let me see if I can brighten this light up a little bit. So.
Oh, neat.
Oh,
this brings back memories. What is that?
That's a U.S. Army silver coin.
That's pretty.
Yeah.
Wow.
I love how official it looks.
Yeah.
Little gold there.
Oh,
I don't have much in the way of gold, but I never was a fan of rounds. But lately, over the last few years, there's some very artistic rounds that are coming out.
Yeah, that's fun stuff.
So
I got this for my son.
I'm like you.
You got the Marvel series, right?
Right, that's a nice one.
Or the, you just love Star Wars. But again, these rounds, that's not my primary focus, right?
No.
I do flip them, though, occasionally. Like this guy, this is the first one that came out. I've sold a few of these. Oh, look at that. We got pirate coins up.
Mm-hmm.
But my point is the last piece was the flipper. Because I know there are a lot of people out there that flip and do pretty well at it. And I've only dabbled in that. I mean, I sold a few things for profit, but that's not me. I'm not a big flipper.
The premium is too high.
It's the risky thing too, right? I don't know. You might buy something thinking, oh, everyone's going to want this. And they don't.
Right. So to me, it's like a piece of art. You like it, you buy it. If not, and I don't buy a whole tube of the same round. I really don't.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
I'll get one or two. Yeah.
Yeah. So I've been buying a few Disney coins for my wife. I don't know if you can see that.
Yeah.
So what we're going to do is very much like, there's some more silver up there. I don't know if you can see it on top of the radiation sign. We're going to get like a shadow box.
Yeah,
and we're going to put a bunch of collectible coins in there. The Disney collection, she likes those and that sort of thing.
I am doing one other thing that I do that's really not stacking, and it's inside this thing too. It's some really high quality, the best I can get of a certain style, right? And this is for my son, which hopefully he doesn't hear me say this. It is what I call the Yankee Constitutional Silver Series, and it's for him.
That's awesome.
And one day I hope, when he sees these special, this is a gorgeous standing Liberty, but these are I want one from every Barber. I want one from every denomination, the best I can afford.
They're
to
nice.
Remember, and put it in a box, like you were saying, a shadow box or something to display. Yeah. So
I think it's important.
That's
I like how you're doing this. Because I think I've heard you speaking with your son on live chats before.
Yes.
Am I correct?
Yeah, Little Stacks joins me occasionally.
Yeah, there's a point to that.
Yeah.
You got a lot of people who have rare coins. They have whatever they have. They pass away, and then their children who don't know nothing about it, all they see is money.
Yep.
They take it to a coin shop or a pawn shop. They give them 25% of the spot, and they think they got a good deal. And they walk off and they blow it on a party or something. Amazing. What I love about how you're doing this, you're teaching your children what it is. So that way, when your son has to sell it, God forbid, he at least knows to look at spot price and see where it's sitting at first.
Yes.
So
yes.
I really have a problem with people just leaving their stuff to their children and not explaining.
I've done it with all my kids. I've explained the real value of money and how it's changed. In fact, I was just talking to my daughter just today about it down after lunch. I mean, it was just really nice to have her actually ask me questions. Because, when you're a teen, it depends. I mean, yes, there are teen stackers in our midst that I'm like, oh my word, that's awesome. But most youth are not interested in preserving wealth. They're trying to make it. maybe they have a Robinhood app on their phone or something, and that maybe interests them. Maybe they're going to buy, bankrupt Hertz or something. But it's not about precious metals for most young people. No.
I don't think so. But I do feel that our community is growing. I really do.
It's grown incredibly large now. Yeah.
I mean, I get emails from, can I say it, teenagers.
Yes.
Hey, I got my first.
I'm 15. I just bought my first tube of American Silver Eagles. I'm like, are you kidding?
Can you? I mean, that just
I didn't do that at 15.
I affected somebody.
Yeah, well,
not infected.
You have. Yeah.
Not infected. I affected.
Glad you made that clear.
But it's a good feeling.
Man.
It truly is. It really is that you change somebody's life, even that much.
See, thinking back to the prepper in me too, it's one of the reasons why I picked those three things, because I don't know if you agree with this overtax, but to me, this is going to make good barter material potentially one day.
Well, I was looking at that tube of gold.
Barter.
Can you imagine one day you walk into a bank, you hand them the tube of gold? I'd like to pay off my house. Thank you.
I wouldn't do that, I don't think. But yeah, you could. Yeah, absolutely. You could.
You never know.
No, but as a prepper stacker, my goal is to not sell this, but to use it potentially as barter and trade. I truly believe that we could have an SHTF situation where, while people honestly don't know what this is, and I did a video once where I tried to buy a pound of coffee with this, and the lady who took it, and she was like, what is this? And the manager came over. It was hilarious, but nobody really knows what this is. Nobody understands a 1964 Kennedy is worth far more than 50 cents Yet, one day, its potential for educating people is there. I think under certain circumstances, people are going to learn quickly what that is. And it's going to actually be something that we could trade and barter for.
Right.
So that's the type of, and in gold, yeah, that's a tougher one because of the value, but I think of this as potential barter material for silver. So, that's how I approach this. I don't really look at it as an investment, and I'm not selling it. I'm just keeping it, and I'll pass it on to my kids. If we can go another, 30, 40 years without everything going to hell in a handbasket?
Yeah, I mean, the way the world's going nowadays, this might even become illegal. The way it depends.
It could be on the black market. I don't think, though. I mean, come on. I've argued this with some people, too. When this was declared illegal back in 33, people were walking around with this stuff in their pockets. We had our money backed by it. It was the only way to really reel in people's wealth. Now, no one has that stuff. It doesn't back crap. And there are dozens of ways that the government can steal our money a lot easier electronically than doing a confiscation, which technically, as you've said in the past, is not a confiscation. There were no doors being kicked down. I just don't see the likelihood of another confiscation.
Yeah, so a lot of people, I get emails, you're wasting your time. It could be illegal you never know, it can be made illegal. And I joke about it a minute or two before. But it was illegal, but nobody came.
I know.
Knocking on your door, demanding that you hand over all your gold and silver. It never, ever happened.
And people had it.
Never a confiscation.
No, there was never a true confiscation. You're right. It was voluntary. But remember, everybody had it.
Right.
Relatively speaking, nobody has it now.
No.
It's not worth their time and effort. They'll take your 401ks, they'll do a bank bail-in, they'll take your IRAs. They're going to go after the stuff that is easy to get electronically before they'd ever think of going after a few stackers.
Easy pickings.
Absolutely.
Easy pickings.
A question for you. Do you buy rhodium or palladium or platinum or any of that other stuff, or you just stick with gold and silver?
I just stick with silver and just started really getting into the gold. Mm-hmm. I don't even own, I'm looking at it right now. I'm looking at your stack,
Oh,
and I'm looking at my stack of gold.
Take that
I'm
away.
lucky here if I got 3/4 of an ounce total gold. So
That's
I
awesome. Do you really? When people say this, can I just say this? When people say, "Oh, Yankee, I only have X amount of blank,"
And that's fine.
I go to them. I say, "Do you realize you have more than 99.999% of this population?"
Right.
Think of it that way. That's phenomenal. I encourage them that way.
I attribute it to some of the people who email me. I only got 1 ounce of silver, and I tell them, next month you'll have another, and the month after that you'll have 5. And it's the same way for me. I just started with the gold, really, per se. I was fortunate enough, someone, 1 or 2 people actually gifted me a little bit of that.
I saw that. Yeah,
I'm gonna branch off, I think, a little bit of the silver and kind of move a little bit towards the gold now.
You're not alone in that. I mean, I'm getting emails and talking with people on the phone in our community that, and I'm actually dropping a video Monday on this topic, that are actually shifting from silver more to gold. And I started with gold. I'm blessed to have been able to do that, although it was a big sacrifice to do it. I don't have a lot of toys. I live very frugally, but that was an investment that I thought was important of putting my fiat towards. But there are people that are doing that. They're selling silver and converting more to gold.
No, don't. I would never do that.
I don't think you should either. I don't.
Because you're blowing that up premium. You bought the premium.
Yes.
You're just selling
the
silver.
You're going to lose in the transaction.
Now you have to take that, hold on to your silver.
Yes, keep your silver. It's more speculative, I know, but keep it. You bought it. Just put it aside and get your gold.
It's kind of like a bass fish. A lot of bass fishing will tell you that pound per pound, a bass fish is stronger than almost any other fish. Pound per pound. They're saying silver's the same way. Pound per pound. They say silver will make more money than gold. They're saying silver can go up multitudes into the 3 digits.
Sure.
That's quadruple, even more than that. That's what is it now? We'll just say 5 times. We'll call it $100, $120. 5 times, what is it now? $20?
20. Just say 20, yeah.
But a lot of people do not believe an ounce of silver will flip 5 times. So pound per pound, they're saying silver is actually the better investment. A lot of people are speculating that within 30 years, an ounce of silver could be $150, $300.
Not getting rid of my silver, man.
I don't know.
That has an upside potential. No, we don't know anything. We don't know for sure, but the way, and maybe we should transition now that we're talking about what's coming or potentially talk about our economy and what's happening. Because I'm really curious about your take on this. I mean, I have my own prognostication just for fun. I don't have a crystal ball, but I'm curious to see where do you see this stuff, the silver and the gold, in the next. Let's talk the decade. This decade of the 20s. Do we get out of this decade economically unscathed?
No, I don't believe so. I do not believe so. I'm sorry to say. And I think it has something more to do with what's going on politically.
And socially earlier, too.
Yeah.
Societally.
Again,
yep.
I don't want to beat up anybody that's listening to us, because I have a lot of Democrat fans and friends, and just as I have Republicans. So I don't want to get anybody angry, but I said it before, I'm neither Democrat nor Republican. But
can I just tell you that, can I tell you I'm not either? I'm independent,
I see things that are just troubling me. I see our freedoms being taken away, So this, like you said, might just all be a bartering tool just to freaking get a next day meal. I mean, if you look around what happened during World War II, I mean, it was horrible, and they were just barely able to eat. And I see things that are going on television today that they're claiming is normal. It's not normal. And,
isn't it amazing what we've seen in the 20s? Like 2020, Think about this. It's unbelievable. I told my family, and we were talking about that. I said, medically, politically, socially, economically, we're in a seizure. We're having a seizure as a nation. I think globally too, but I'm thinking too about our wonderful nation, which, dude, I am as patriotic as anyone I know. I love my country so much, and it just eats me alive inside of what I am seeing happening to our nation. It's killing me.
And a lot of it is downright. It is. This evilness is being propagated by the news media outlets who are perpetuating it, who are trying to make people believe one way when it's really not. And unfortunately, most people are getting their education from, I won't say
they get it online. They get it through Snapchat and YouTube and Facebook and others. That's where they're getting a lot of it, right?
Right, and they're too lazy to actually read a full article nowadays. Nowadays, they just read the headlines, and they think that's all the news they need to obtain. But
dude, I'm just amazed that we are able to kick the can just a little bit higher after what we've gone through. And I dropped a video about a week or two ago about the second wave that I do believe is coming. Not so much the medical second wave, though, the economic one, the actual implications of what we are doing, what the Fed is doing, what the government is doing. And I think this is just the beginning. In fact, we're not even through the first wave economically, but that second wave of bankruptcies and bank failures and all the stuff that I see coming and the unemployment, we are really in for it. We're not getting out of this. Everyone thinks, oh, okay, everything's fine, everything is awesome. It's not.
Kind of leads me to your question you just asked 2 minutes ago. You think we're going to get out of this unscathed? No, I don't. I think there's I got to say this. I'm not saying that the corona is fake. I'm not saying that.
Nope, it's not. I have good friends of mine that are suffering from it. First-hand knowledge. It is not fake. But however,
I'm not seeing nobody.
I know you're not. Right, exactly.
And
Arizona, you're in Arizona, right?
Yeah, and they just mandated.
You're getting hit.
Wear a mask in public. And, a lot of people are falling hook, line, sinker. They're willing to sacrifice their freedoms for whatever level of safety they really can provide themselves through common sense. So just not.
Right. I mean, when I go see my 87-year-old father and 83-year-old mom, I'm wearing a mask, dude. I'm trying to listen. If we had done this a little bit differently and didn't shut the whole blessed thing down, and protected those among us that were the most vulnerable, and tried hard to be careful and wash your hands and all that, most people would be okay. I told my family there will be some that had no idea, maybe me, that I get it and end up in the hospital. Shoot, I may even die. But we can't, I don't know. I think, here's a question. Do you think we're going to shut down again? To the scale that we did the first time?
It's hard to say.
I say no.
It really is.
I say no. No way are we going to allow that to happen.
No. But a lot of businesses are still closed. A lot of corporations are still closed.
Yeah.
I'm going to say this at the risk of pissing some people off.
Which is perfect, which is you, man. This is you. You go for it, because this is what we love about you. Go ahead. A
lot of the people who have corona or have been diagnosed with corona also have something else. It's no different than getting, let's say, I want to say this carefully. If you get the flu and you already got, let's say, another ailment, your chances of getting over that ailment become more difficult because now you're battling a flu. I know people on this internet and they know people, and nobody knows anybody that actually has it by itself.
Okay.
The only people I'm hearing about dying is from the idiot box called the television. Now,
I have several people that have it that I know personally that are by itself. A lot of them are high risk, like in the medical community. It's spread. Now my son's best friend and his father. And so I do. Okay. So, but I don't want to disagree with you. I think it's called comorbidity. Comorbidity. If you've got diabetes, high blood pressure, hypertension, if you've got type 1, whatever, if you're obese, you are highly susceptible of dying if you get it. And what really caused your death?
Well, I have to say it's the other ailments first, because if you had those other ailments and you just got the common flu,
you could die.
It's gonna mess
kill
with
you. Absolutely.
Yes.
Yep. Or you're older. If my 87-year-old father gets the flu and it turns into pneumonia, he's probably going to die.
Yes. But chances are, I agree there.
So there's risk factors. I guess the point is it's hard to know what is really causing these numbers. And I agree with you.
And that leads me to where I want to just, because I just want to end this subject with saying this.
Sure.
Is my prediction that after the election, COVID will be a thing of the past. When we hear about COVID, it'll be as in past tense. That is my firm belief. I
hope you're right.
I hope so too.
I really do. Can I transition what you're saying there around this comorbidity thing, to back to the economic piece? Because I really, that's where I focus most of my my channel on too, is macro and stacking prepping. But we as a nation have a comorbidity, and it's called debt. We are so debt saturated in our society. We live way beyond our means. And I think the chickens are coming home to roost. So that when we had this medical thing, whatever you want to call it, right? And the bubble gets pricked, we are not in the right economic state to be able to withstand. We don't have the savings. We can't get through a period of time, without income. We have a pile of debt. I compared recently to what happened to Japan back in the lost decades of the 90s. The thing that helped them is that they had low debt and high savings, the Japanese. We don't have that. We live in a way that puts us at high risk of being killed economically, and that is such troubling fact. I've talked to my parents. They're like, you guys don't get it. We came through the Great Depression. We knew how to save. We knew how to have a garden. We knew how to live within our means, actually below their means. Proud of them for doing that. They had good economic sense. We've lost our sense. We're freaking mindless when it comes to fiscal responsibility.
It's all driven that craving for more and more and more, outdoing your neighbors, metaphorically.
Yes. Yep.
It all comes from television. It all comes from the news media outlets and all these shows on television.
Right.
They
make you jealous.
Yes, envious.
Envious. That's better. Envious. Yeah.
You got to put on your best face. You got to wear when you go out, you got to be in a car that you really can't afford and clothes that you really can't afford. And everybody's doing the same thing, trying to outdo each other.
Exactly.
As a society,
right.
It's comical, and all those people that got laid off due to COVID and still have the mortgage, banks will forgive you for a couple of months, but about 3 months, they want their home back.
Well, I hear you, but I'm worried about what our Federal Reserve is going to do and what our government. Right now, we seem to be in a very deflationary state right now. We're worried about deflation. Everything's about deflation. I think that's going to give way to stagflation soon. I think, and that's back in the 70s, right? We were kids, right? That was when people are out of job, inflation was going up, and the economy was struggling. The GDP was terrible. Stagflation, the misery index. I don't know if you remember that line.
Yeah.
Right? I think all that's coming back. But I think
Right.
the response of our central banks, it's going on around the world. I mean, we're printing money ludicrous speed. Remember, what was that, Spaceballs? Ludicrous speed. That's what we're doing when it comes to just printing money.
It's scary, and
And then hyperinflation is next, dude. After stagflation, I think comes hyperinflation.
Yeah. And it goes back to the prepping. It doesn't happen like a light switch.
Right.
And, one day, what we've been prepping on the shelves is going to come in handy,
Yeah, but dude, do we don't want that. I'm about to drop a video in a couple weeks called Do You Really Want Silver to Shoot the Moon? And I know you've talked about this on your channel. Be careful what you ask for. Oh, yeah, I want silver to $500 an ounce. Well, do you realize your milk will probably cost you $90 a gallon when that happens? Do we really want silver do we really want to use our preps? I don't.
You know me, I preach silver needs to go as far down as possible.
Well, sure, if you're an accumulator like us, right, and not a hodler, you want it to go down because you're not done buying, right?
Right. It's scary.
Yes, I know.
It really is scary, and I guess I've been very fortunate. I didn't lose my job or anything, so
good. Yeah,
but that can happen tomorrow.
And I want to be sensitive to those who have. I think our country has been one of the most gracious, most giving. We have been historically. We really do. In fact, a lot of it has been our civic groups, our churches and stuff has really helped. I help people in a variety of ways directly, and charities and so forth. But we are now shifting away from that towards a mentality that says the government takes care of everything. The government, from cradle to grave, will take care of everything. I can lose my job, and I have a right to have the government give me back exactly the same job I have at exactly the price. That is my right. It's like, whoa, where did that come from, man?
I don't understand that either. A lot of people, they cannot live without a mommy or a daddy. They really can't. They can't survive on their own. I always said this. Well, actually, if you go to Yosemite National Park, some of your bigger national parks, there are signs along the hiking trails. Please do not feed the animals. They will forget how to fend for themselves. And people are no different. I always said help is in my mind has always been a temporary action. A temporary action. Help means somebody assist you. What I'm getting at is if somebody's assisting you, you're also lending a hand. They're not doing it all themselves. Then that's not helping. That's them doing it all. Today's society, they can't do it themselves. They listen to too many television shows that show people driving around in BMWs and all this, these television shows that just spectacularize their rich or their well-to-do status. These survivor type of shows when they're living in these nice homes or whatnot, and they believe that. How come I don't have? I'm 20 years old.
I deserve that.
Why don't I drive a Beamer? I'm being held down by the white man. That metaphor.
Yeah, I understand.
Or
being held down by the man, whatever it is, right?
I'm
Somebody's
held
holding
down
me
by
back.
Somebody, right? Because I'm 19 or 20. I don't have my mansion. I don't have my Beamer, and I don't.
And you deserve it.
And I deserve it. But they don't realize that in real life, your teenage years, and for that matter, your early 20s, for me, were struggles. They were constantly getting electricity turned off because I'm taking this bill to pay that bill, and it wasn't until my my 30s where I'm coming on to, where I came into my own. I got the education,
Right.
started getting a little bit of better job.
Mm.
I worked for it. Everything I have around me wasn't accumulated in 1 week, where that's where the mindset of our young is.
Oh, I know.
Yeah.
I hire people, and I have some people in my job. I have a lot of, and it's tough to see that.
56 years is how I got my stuff.
But to your point, and I don't want to speak bad about millennials because I have one as a child, and I hire them and I love them. I think they give a lot they provide a lot to our society. Right. They've just been handled. I mean, a lot of the blame and a lot of things goes to their parents. But it is amazing though to feel the entitlement. I've had people that look at me and I've been here 6 weeks. Why haven't I gotten my promotion yet? I've literally had people ask me that, and I'm like, oh man, you got to work hard. It takes time. And no. I need things. I need things fast. And I think that translates though into people's gambling, if you will, with the markets. They want it now. They don't. They want to bottom feed on the stock market. They want to play the stock market like a casino, and they want to win and win big, fast.
Well,
not invest for over a period of time.
Yeah, we know how casinos are. The house always wins.
Right.
The fact of the matter is, you take this perception that TV reality is real to these people. And I'm not saying every kid's like that, because I don't want to. I'm just saying there's a lot that expect it yesterday, and they're still 20 years old. And then they're going to school and they're being taught God knows what in school.
Oh, that's half the problem right there.
So, between the television, the idiot box is what I call it, and
internet,
and college, they come out thinking, well, I ain't taking no freaking job that no, I need to get my executive job now. I'm ready. I got my college degree.
Yeah, there you go.
I'm an executive now.
I'm laughing here because you and I are so old. They don't watch TV. They watch Netflix. They watch the internet, YouTube. TV. What are you talking about, you oldie? Yeah, it is. And both of us, I think, are thinking the same thing when it comes to our economy. We need to pray that we're wrong and prepare that we're right. And honestly, I think the more we educate people, I get a lot of emails and stuff from people saying, you know what, Yankee, I took my money extra out of my bank. It's not worth the risk. Or, I started stacking because of you, and I know you get it in spades. You get those more than I do. And doesn't that just warm your heart? Doesn't that just make you jacked?
Says that they're I love that when they say, I got rid of some fiat currency and I bought some real money.
Real money. Yep.
I got real money.
Real money. I remember, I think you did this. You like half my stuff is from you, man. I have to admit. You
I
pulled
got
out
4 or 5 of those.
You talked about the difference between that silver certificate and the Federal Reserve note. You really explained well, I think, what currency and money is.
And I'll do it again for your viewers. If you were to hold a
do this
a silver eagle up, I'm looking on a silver eagle. It shows $1. I got silver on both sides of it.
Yep.
So here's
$1.
I'll do it. So it says $1.
Yeah, right on the back.
Yeah. Show the people on your nice camera. God, that's a sharp image. $1. Now show them the $1 bill.
This is a $1 silver certificate.
It's $1. The difference is the silver coin, that $1 is worth approximately $22 now.
Amazing.
I think it's what, 22?
Well, yeah, I mean, well,
$20.
You're talking the difference between spot and maybe how much it costs to actually. The premiums are higher. So yeah, in the 20s, you're buying a silver eagle for, right?
Yeah. So there's a difference. And another good example was that dime. You held out a dime.
I like the Rosies now better than the Mercs.
So hold up that dime for a second.
Which
hold
one?
Hold up that dime.
All right, I'll go with the Merc for you.
All right, hold up the dime.
Yep. So
that dime, what is it? About $1.90. Give me, what is the market price of that? About $1.90, $2.10.
Yeah, say that. It's $2. Yep.
$2.10.
Is that what you got? 210, right?
I'm going to just round it to $2. Let's just because you got to, so that thing's really worth about $2.10. I mean, we'll just say it's $2. That's right now. There's plenty of gas stations that are selling unleaded gas for $1.99. That 10 cents has gone up in price. The value of that coin has gone up in price. That 10 cents can buy a gallon of gas.
Think about that. I know. I saw a photo of a sign saying, it's a $1.90 or a gallon, or 1 silver dime a gallon. It actually said that.
Right. So. That's why I advocate trading in all your cash.
Right.
Your silver, and eventually 10, 20 years of owning that silver or that the junk silver, it too will appreciate in the 10 or 20 years of you holding it.
Check this out. This was done by someone, Silver Dragons. I don't know if you know him, but
That's amazing.
Isn't that amazing? He pours these. Now, these are cool. I commissioned him to make my round. I have a bunch of these coming out soon. But you know what? I don't stack this stuff either. This is fun. This is silver art. This is, again, back to the ice cream cone. This is the fun stuff that I will get, and I try to get different rounds from around the community, because this community. Can I end it on this too, man? The community that we have on YouTube. Again, I think back to the days when I would watch you. Man, you're one of my featured channels on my channel because of watching you and learning. There is so much in our community that we can learn, but also just the support that we have within this precious metals community on YouTube is pretty special.
The community is growing.
Isn't it? It is fantastic, and I do appreciate it. I think we've been an hour and 10 minutes going into this.
That's good.
Wow, that flew, man. I want to talk to you about crypto at some point, but I think maybe we should do a second collab. Maybe talk a little bit about that.
We could definitely do that. We'll chat offline about that. Okay. Shoot me an email. I'm kind of new to cryptos myself.
Right.
I
don't do crypto.
Right.
So we can basically discuss the pros and cons and how we approach it, if that's something you want to do.
Absolutely.
Oh, I do have one last question. Do you invest, and I do mean the word invest, in any silver or gold mining stocks?
Nope.
You don't do that yet. Okay. That's that's speculative, right?
I have a 401k at work, and that's my only other investment.
But you don't leverage. You can invest with it there as well in your 401k, but you don't do that.
Well, with my work, they give you a.
Oh, you're limited.
We're limited to
certain funds.
Yeah, certain things. But the only reason I do that is because my employer matches my full 4%.
That's good. That's excellent.
And I'm 100% vested. So it's not like I got to wait for that to build up.
Right.
So I mentioned that. Turn that down.
Yeah, I mentioned that early on when we first started, that I was maxing out my 401k, but I did move out of my 401k when I changed jobs and got into a whole different line of investing that's outside of precious metals. That is really the investment vehicle of choice for me now. But I do a little bit in this silver and gold mining stocks, just a little bit of my portfolio, not much. I think there's huge upside potential for that. Massive.
Yeah, the only reason I don't do a lot of stocks is because I'll be honest with you, I don't know much about it. It's not that I don't do it because I think it's a silly move. I just don't know much about stocks and all that. So I stay away from things I don't know about.
That's good. That's smart. Yeah, stick with what we know, and we know silver and gold. You know it really well.
Yeah.
Do you have any other? Show me some of your. We'll wrap it up, but I just want to see some more of your stuff. Oh, look at that Bart! Bring it in. Oh man, that's a 10 ouncer, right? Yeah.
Yeah, that's my favorite size. Look at the shine on that thing. You can brush your teeth with it.
That
I
is
love these things.
nice. Yeah, you like
Yeah,
this.
I didn't really bring out much of anything. I just brought out a few tubes. I'm not like you. I don't. It looks like you have a 2, 4, 6, 8, 10, 12, 14 tubes of just silver eagles.
Oh yeah, that's my monster. That is actually 26 tubes there.
Oh, and you got all that gold there, so you're doing good. You're
I'm
doing
trying hard. I think I don't
I
have
know.
a lot of time. So, again, a lot of it though is choices instead of buying things. And instead of, I'm 54, right? So I'm an old guy. So I've built my wealth over decades and I'm trying to preserve it, right? I'm still investing in areas like private mortgage lending and all that kind of stuff that it gives me that yield, that return on investment each month. But this stuff is just, we are going to see inflation go through the roof soon, I think. I really do.
Well, I hope it doesn't happen, but all signs are pointing to it. I can't wait to the election. I can't wait till that's past us, and
I'm afraid of what's
hoping
on
to
the
see a
other
little
end.
bit of normality.
I'm a little scared of what's on the other side of that election, but yes, it would be nice to get through it.
Yeah. But other than that,
we've got interesting times ahead of us. So
yes.
Well, I appreciate this more than I can adequately express, man. Another overtaxed taxpayer, you're the man. I'm going to put your a link in the description of this video. I will let you have it too. If there's anybody out there watching who has not subscribed to another overtaxed taxpayer, you're living under a rock because this guy rocks. He really does. So definitely check him out. Thanks, man.
Thank you so much.
Really, this was a lot of fun.
Take care of yourself.
You too, man. Have a good one.